What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to MTG Deep Dive, where I finally get to talk about the iPhone Air. And I know, it's been out for a couple months, but I finally got around to testing it out. I've talked about this device on my main channel, MTG Productions, and for those of you who just found this channel organically, hey there, this is not my main channel. This is kind of like my deep dive, where I go a little bit more deep into thoughts and opinions about devices and upcoming devices as well, and things that don't really make the cut onto the main channel. But my focus here on this channel specifically for deep dive is I kind of want it to be more of a podcast type. So when you're on your way to work, or if you're just listening to just some commentary, things like that, you don't necessarily need to watch the video. You can just kind of chime in and listen while you're driving, for example, when you're going to work. But iPhone Air, it's been great. But I'll tell you this, I think after using this for almost a month now, I think I may return it. But it's not because it's not usable, because it is. It really is. And it does have compromises, but I still think you can get through those compromises. With this iPhone Air, I truly think this is a unique device. It's its own device. iPhone Air it's not a Pro replacement. Like that's its position. It's not a Pro replacement. It's not a base iPhone. It's a design first iPhone with obviously some compromises from like the base iPhone and from the Pro iPhone. But does the iPhone Air make sense? That's kind of what I've been thinking about in the past month. And my conclusion has kind of come to this. It does make sense. If there are a couple changes, then I think it would be great. First of all, like the price. $999, position this at a little bit lower than the iPhone Air. Honestly, if you ask me, I think it would do great. And then also add a dual camera setup. That would be awesome. Maybe we'll see those for next year. I don't know about the price, honestly. I don't think the price is going to come down any more than $999. I think that's going to be the base price. But at least adding a dual camera setup, that would be great. But when we go into the design and the build, like that is the biggest thing with this. It is the design and how it looks. The main story essentially with the iPhone Air. It's an ultra thin chassis, super thin as you can see, and really lightweight, which I really do like. And using this phone, it's felt like I'm not even carrying anything. Like that's how lightweight it is. And even if you do use a case, especially like those really thin cases, they don't add much bulk either, so this still feels really light to hold in the hand. And it's easier to use one-handed because of that, and there's also less fatigue over long sessions, and that's kind of what I've noticed. And the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of the work that I do on my phone, or a lot of the work that I do for my business, is on my phone. So it only makes sense that I'm using my phone for long sessions. Now, the frame here is titanium. I did get the space black, but it does attract a lot of fingerprints, and I'm not too happy about that. And also like the camera frame, like this camera cutout, which all of like the essentials, like the chipset and everything, is kind of built into this module up here, the bar, the camera bar, whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty neat how they engineer all of that, and the rest is, I guess, battery. But anyway, it does also attract fingerprints, and then if you use MagSafe, you can sometimes see your MagSafe imprint on this iPhone, which does suck. I don't have that on my iPhone 17 or my 17 Pro. And again, this feels definitely more premium than the Pros. I'll tell you that. It definitely feels more premium. Is it more Pro? No, it's not. I think the Pros this year actually kind of nailed it with the Pros. They took away the elegance and the premium feel, brought that to the iPhone Air, and made those more industrial, which I like. Now this matte glass finish, I can still see fingerprints, but it's not that bad. It definitely could be better, but overall this phone feels really aesthetic to use. And you might think like, this is such a thin phone. Have you ever had any concerns of it kind of flexing at all? No, no. I mean, I'm not going to try any further. I'm not going to test it. This is not where I test that type of stuff, but I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, the USB-C port barely fits on it, which is great. And the buttons, the port placement, everything else is, you know, an iPhone. It's everything that you're used to, but just in a much thinner design. Now, there's a whole like, oh, well, the iPhone Air, if you use a case with it, it wasn't meant to be used with a case. And does it defeat the point? Yes and no. I mean, look, you're paying a premium for a phone, and if you're going to hold it on for a long time, you want to make sure you take care of it. But if that's not you, then you don't need to use a case. But then again, like, yeah, when I take off the case, I feel like, wow, this is what the iPhone Air is supposed to be, super thin. And then I also think, like, who asked for this? But surprisingly, there are a decent amount of people that ask for the iPhone Air. And I have come across, not a lot, but a couple of people in the wild using an iPhone Air. Like I went to the Tesla Service Center about like a month ago. This was right before I picked up my iPhone Air as well, a little over a month ago at this point. And the guy working there walked by me and reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and it was an iPhone Air. And the reason why I know, like, he pulled it right in front of me and walk by with an iPhone Air. So people do use this. This is not just like, oh, it's the only, you know, tech people on, you know, YouTube and Twitter and stuff, or X, that use an iPhone Air that talk about it. No, they're regular people. Probably you guys watching too. Maybe some of you have an iPhone Air. Like, this is still a good phone. It really is. It cuts corners in parts that are not too necessary. Like in the necessary parts, I don't think the iPhone Air still cuts corners, because Apple still has its core values. And one of them is going to be the software and the performance, which I'll get to in a moment. But yeah, it has compromises, but they're not like compromises that, you know, are a necessity that make an iPhone an iPhone. Now, this display doesn't cut any corners, I'll tell you that. The 6.5-inch OLED display, it's got 120 Hz ProMotion. It's great for using it indoors and outdoors. The color accuracy is great. And here's the thing, it also has the anti-reflective coating that the iPhone 17, the Pro, and the Pro Max have. Is it as great as Samsung's S25 Ultra's anti-reflective coating? No, it's not. But hey, it's a first step forward in the right direction. So what I would love to see is if Apple adapted having even a better anti-reflective coating on their next iPhone. And with iPhone Air 2, I don't know when we'll get it. We probably will get it sometime. Rumors are indicating in the spring of 2027. And I'll be talking about that in later videos of the iPhone 2026 lineup. But it would be nice to see those types of things come to the iPhone Air. And I think Apple could do that. If Apple kind of just took risks, I guess, or just really said, you know what, we're going to adapt silicon carbon batteries into our iPhones like that. That makes perfect sense for this. Because like you get like a 3000 something, like 160. The exact capacity is really weird. But imagine if they use a silicon carbon tech for their batteries. You can still kind of keep the same design and the same thickness, 5.6 millimeters, but add a much larger battery. Imagine like a 5,000 or 5,500 milliamp hour battery in this. Nobody will be complaining about the battery life. And I'll get to battery in a moment, but those batteries like, oh, it's atrocious, it's really bad. It's not as bad as it seems. Like it really is not as bad as, you know, once you start using it. But I get to that in, you know, later in this commentary video, again, however you're listening on. Now the software on this, it's the same as the iPhone 17 Pro and the iPhone 17 that I have used. iOS 26 is great. I have personally come across, so far at least, 0 issues on my iPhone Air. A lot of the issues that I've noticed were with apps, individual apps, not with iOS 26, like app crashes and things like that. And once I just kind of uninstall and reinstall, it's back to normal, no issues. And the day-to-day responsiveness on this is also really good, just buttery smooth. And that also does help with having a ProMotion on here. The app animations are also really great. No battery drains in the past month, so that's good. And I believe I'm on the latest iOS 26.2. Let's just see software update. iOS 26.2. Bam, there we go. Yep. So I'm on the latest iOS 26.2, and my battery life has been, you know, pretty good. I haven't noticed any drastic drops, which sometimes does happen when you update your phone. Like it tanks the battery life, but not with 26.2, at least on my end. Now, does iOS feel better optimized here than on heavier phones? No. Well, yes, maybe with the Pros at least, because it does kind of, when it gets warm, it gets really warm. Like there's no vapor cooling chamber or anything to kind of cool down this phone. So if you're using this like for lots of FaceTime calls or playing lots of games, good luck, because it's going to get really warm to the touch. That's one of the main concerns I have with this, not having a vapor cooling chamber. That makes sense because of how thin this phone is. Now it has the A19 Pro chipset, but I believe with like one less core than the Pro models. So if I put them side by side and kind of sit down and play with each of them, I'm not going to notice any difference. I haven't even noticed any difference with the regular iPhone 17 that has just an A19 chipset, not a Pro chip. So do those really matter in real world use? Maybe not. If you're really pushing numbers and things like that, then yeah, you're going to notice. But other than that, app launches, you know, daily responsiveness, it's the same experience as what I've seen with my 17 Pro and iPhone 17. Gaming performance, it's got good performance, but when it gets warm, you'll start to see a little bit of a slowdown. So yeah, the thermals on this aren't the greatest. That's because of how thin it is. It does affect that heat dissipation. But for 95% of people, this feels just as fast as a Pro. 95. There's going to be the 5% that be like, well, I want a vapor cooling chamber. Well, I want that extra core. Well, then go get a Pro. Don't even think about getting an iPhone Air. Like, I don't even know why that's even a discussion at this point. So if you really want the best of the best, obviously you go with the Pros. You don't go with the Air. Well, then I also, you know, I like having, I want to have a thin phone, but also have great performance, but I don't want to throttle. Well, you got to make up your mind, because the iPhone Air, yes, it's thin. It offers great performance, but it doesn't have great thermals. So it doesn't have that vapor cooling chamber. It's going to get warm to the touch. So sometimes you got to make choices. Which one is most important to you? And according to that, then you go with whichever iPhone fits your needs or wants. But I can tell you, at least for the most part, other than getting warm, like heating up, which is not too crazy, the software experience and the performance experience is essentially the same as my iPhone 17 and 17 Pro. I don't really use Apple Intelligence features on here. I really don't. If I'm using any AI stuff, it's like Meta AI with my Meta Ray-Bans. It's Grok because, well, I have Grok in my Tesla, and sometimes when I'm driving, I get to just have a conversation with Tesla. It drops into my app, which is new, by the way. Before it wouldn't remember chats, but it drops the chat right into my Grok. So like, let's say I actually need Grok to kind of help me plan some work for my business while I'm driving, instead of, you know, trying to use my phone. I communicate with my car, drops into my phone afterwards, all set to go. ChatGPT is obviously, I just feel like it's the most accurate of the bunch. So there are certain prompts that, you know, or conversations I'll have with Grok, and then the rest will be on ChatGPT. So yeah, performance and the software experience, it's great. It's essentially power without having the Pro in its name. The camera system, or the camera, not even a system, it's just one camera. It's a single camera setup, 48 megapixels. It's decent, but yeah, like I've noticed this. I've been using my iPhone cameras much more often and more than ever before because of work. And I've come to realize, like, I use the ultra wide a lot. And I use the 2x telephoto. Like when I hit 2x a lot. 3x, a lot. And that you can't do that here. Like, you don't have an ultra wide. Yeah, you have 2x, but it's like digital. And then like, yeah, it's just, no, like it's not good. You can go up to 10x digital zoom, but that's really it. You can't go any further than that. So having a single rear camera setup is like, no, especially if you're coming from an iPhone Pro or just even a dual camera setup on a base iPhone. This is not going to be great. However, if you're already used to one camera and this is the way you want to keep going, then you'll be fine. The results on this camera itself are good, but the reason why I'm talking about just having versatility, you're not getting that here. You're just getting one single camera lens, which is good, but not great. Definitely could be better. The low light performance is also decent, but I think the pros obviously perform real great. And then the videos are good. It's, you know, I think if you're getting into the content space and this is your phone, then yeah, it's a great phone. But once you start needing to have more camera versatility, then this iPhone Air is definitely not going to be for you. That being said, hopefully next year, Apple does bring a dual camera setup. Imagine having a dual and have that second camera lens being ultra wide. Make this an ultra wide camera lens. I think everybody would be super duper happy. I mean, I would. I know 100% I would be pretty happy having a dual camera setup. Not even a triple, dual camera setup. And maybe adapt silicon carbon tech, which is kind of where I want to talk about the battery life on this, which is, for a lot of people, it's the biggest question. Well, how's the battery life been? I'll tell you this, you know, it's got a small battery out of the bunch, but in real world usage, it's not that bad. It's not that bad as I had originally thought it would be. You know, going into this phone, I was like, oh, this is not going to be a good phone. Like, I'm going to have to charge all the time. There has been only a couple days where I need to charge it twice in a day. And that's, you know, charging it twice in a day kind of sucks because like you always have to think about having a charger. But most other days it was just once. And most of those times where it was once, you know, charging once in the day was when I was in my car commuting back home or to work, etc. I would just plug it in and via USB-C and I'm all set to go. And even so, like I think about it, well, yeah, it doesn't have the greatest battery life, but even so, like I have chargers and accessibility to charging my phones, my devices, wherever, whenever I want. So I don't really have, I'm not too scared about its battery dying. Yeah, if I'm in the middle of doing work and it's like really low, like, oh crap, like I gotta plan accordingly. But other than that, like I'm not too concerned. On heavy days, yeah, like I said, I have to charge it every day. There's been a couple of times where I had to charge it twice a day, which is definitely not ideal for many people. In fact, it's not ideal for me, but hey, it's what happens. Standby time is great, as with all the iPhones. That's no problems or no issues. So you won't notice any drain, about maybe 1% the entire night. But everyone's usage is different. You're not going to be like me. So you probably will be using your phone less. This may be for you. You may use your phone more than me. Who knows? And this phone may not be for you. So you really have to know yourself and how often you use your phone. While this phone is super capable and doing pretty much essentially everything that the Pro can do in terms of just like daily use, I don't know. Like the decision is really up to you. You have to know what you want in a phone. Does this thinness trade off the endurance, like in the battery? Yeah, it does. But again, it's making compromises and you're willing to give up, you know, some things. You're willing to take on those compromises. One is going to be having subpar battery life. Like again, you may get through the day. I don't. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I do not get through the day. There has not been a day of me using this phone where I woke up and went to sleep on one charge. But my iPhone 17 and my 17 Pro were able to do that. I don't use the 17 Pro Max. I've tried it, but I don't use the Pro Max. It's just too large for me, at least. You may think, oh, well, the 16 or this iPhone Air why am I saying 16? It's getting like this iPhone Air is probably too big. And yeah, like it's between the 17 and the 17 Pro Max, 6.5 inch versus the 6.3 on the 17 and Pro, and then the 6.9 inch display on the 17 Pro Max. So this is sitting right in the middle. But like when you take a look at the pricing, $999, like this is positioned between the base iPhone and the Pro. And it's more expensive than expected for a non-Pro. In fact, like this is kind of sitting where that second lineup was with the iPhone Plus lineup. This is not a Plus. This is not trying to replace the Plus. Like it's not a Plus successor. If it was, then we'd probably get the 17 Plus, right? We wouldn't get an iPhone Air. But I think, you know, what you're paying for here is for this design. It's for this thinness, for having a Pro Motion display with Pro specs in a super thin body. Kind of valuing elegance and design over everything else in an iPhone. That's completely okay. Some may really just want to have an elegant and unique iPhone. There are some things you're not getting here. Again, great battery life, you're not getting that. Pro cameras, pro camera features, you're not getting that. A telephoto or ultra wide lens, you're not getting that. So it really ultimately does come down to you whether you want to pick this up or not. Like you have to know yourself and what compromises you can give it. If you're using your camera a lot, it's not going to be that phone for you. If you're using your phone a lot, it's not going to be that phone for you because battery is not going to be that great. But I kind of want to talk a little bit more about, you know, who this iPhone is for and just like some miscellaneous things. The battery anxiety a lot of people have been talking about online varies from user to user. For me, it hasn't really given me too much battery anxiety. One, because I have accessibility to charging wherever I go, so that's not any concerns. The durability issues or concerns, like I don't have any. I really don't. I've been using this, like I said, for the past month, and it's been great. Like I don't have any battery concerns or durability concerns. I do have battery concerns. Some people like this. Like some people genuinely wanted to have a thin iPhone. But then others are like, oh, that's just a waste of time. Just go with an iPhone Pro. They don't even call it 17 Pro. Like, oh, you got the new Pro? You got the new iPhone Pro? No, well, it's got 17 in its name. So, but Apple is trying. Apple is testing a new design. This may be their future design language. Who knows? Like, I really don't know. But in fact, like rumors are already stating like we're probably going to get some more iPhone models. Obviously, the Fold is rumored to come out next year. So like, I don't know, but this feels like a glimpse into Apple's future priorities. May happen, like their priorities may shift to something like an iPhone Air, or this may just be like a one-time, two-time thing, and they'll, you know, kind of reevaluate and cancel this, and who knows? We don't know. But who is this iPhone Air for? I think, first of all, the biggest strengths of this is design, the weight, this display, and also just like the performance on this. The biggest compromises, if you ask me, the battery and the camera versatility. So who should buy it? I think people who just value design over specs, everyday users who want that premium feel. And then for those who want to skip, I think you probably have to fall into that category of being a power user or being someone who's like heavily invested into mobile photography. This is just not going to cut it. Like this is just not going to be that phone for you. So yeah, if this is going to be like your main device, but you also have a huge focus in mobile photography, like it's gonna use you're gonna use this phone all day, and you're a power user. Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult phone to use. However, that being said, I kind of fall in that category where I use my phone quite often, but because I have accessibility to charging, and I still get to use a phone while it's charging, then I'm okay with it. Like I sat down and thought about, should I return this or not? And you know what? After, long thinking, I'm going to return it. One, it's like I have way too many phones, and sometimes I just don't need to have way too many. So I think my time here is coming to an end with this. But with those compromises, I can get through the compromise. I really can. But I think Apple needs to bring the price down. If you're taking a lot of those compromises, if you're taking a lot of things away from this iPhone Air and just saying, hey, look, it's like super premium, it's super elegant, it's our coolest, like newest iPhone design ever, but yeah, it's cutting some corners, but you still only to pay $1,000. Well, then I don't want to pay $1,000. I don't want to pay that premium price for a phone, yes, that may feel premium, but it could be more premium if it kind of, didn't cut corners, but compromised accordingly and worked accordingly to improve itself. And I think over the years, iPhone Air will. I have hopes that it'll still continue as a lineup. Like I don't think, and I also don't hope that Apple does kind of axe the iPhone Air lineup. That would kind of be pretty upset. I mean, if you're doing that, you might as well bring back the iPhone mini lineup, right? Which is, for me, my favorite iPhone lineup and iPhone in general. I've used the iPhone 12 mini and now I have the 13 mini. They're both great. So if Apple can bring those back, I would love it. I love, like 100%. If you guys do want to see some sort of like a iPhone 13 mini talk or just minis here on MTG Deep Dive, let me know in the comments down below. Like I genuinely like this phone, but I am going to return it. I just cannot, if this justify the price because of the compromises you make. Someone can say like, hey, the iPhone 17 also still feels really premium. Build quality is great, has a great, essentially same display tech as the iPhone Air. It also has a dual camera setup. It also has better battery. And the performance is still great. Just because you have a Pro chipset or A19 Pro here and the iPhone Air doesn't make it 100 times better than the regular iPhone 17. Honestly, I think value-wise, the iPhone 17 offers the best value, and the iPhone Air is just kind of like, hey, look, I'm the elegant and premium device. Pick me. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think about the iPhone Air? I like it, but like I said, I'm going to return it when the return period does quickly approach. But that's kind of been it with me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts, comments, concern, what you would like to see here on the channel. We're getting pretty close to 100 subscribers, so that is great. Just want to, again, share more of my thoughts, go a little bit more in depth, but have it be kind of unscripted in a way. I have bullet points, but like, just let me talk and be myself and have less edits than my MTG production videos. That's kind of what I was getting at here with this channel on MTG Deep Dive. And again, shout out to all of you who found my channel, who found this channel without knowing my MTG Productions. I actually was talking about how Samsung flew me out in this past summer to Samsung Galaxy Unpacked, which was my first ever Unpacked. And I got some comments like, wow, Samsung flew out somebody with like 20 subscribers at the time. I was like, no, this is not my main channel. So like people still don't know, just trying to get the word out. But if you're here on MTG Deep Dive, go ahead and, subscribe. My goal here is to obviously continue to push out content here on MTG Deep Dive and just build more of a community, build like just talking with each other in the comments, going back and forth, sharing our thoughts and our enjoyment for tech. I've genuinely enjoyed reviewing devices, and I'm glad that I get to kind of do this full time and just talk about the devices that we use every single day. I remember when I was much younger, I used to go to Best Buy every single weekend and check out the latest tech. I used to go to Circuit City when that was a thing, CompUSA when that was a thing. Check out the latest tech, the latest games. I even worked at Best Buy as a mobile consultant at one point, and I got to sell and, again, talk with customers, learn more about their experiences, not just, reading comments, which, I get to see and read, users' comments of their experience, but hearing it in person is also a great way to learn what others think about devices. So I did get to experience that as well. But yeah, I've been on YouTube since 2014, 11 years going on to 12. Obviously, this channel is brand new, but my MTG Productions, we've been around since 2014. I didn't really start taking it seriously since until like 2021, which, you know, once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I was like, you know what? It's time to take this YouTube seriously because it's looking like it's going somewhere. And yeah, I'm telling you, reviewing tech and, you know, talking about tech here on YouTube and other platforms has given me the great opportunity to obviously check out these products, but build new friendships, relationships, work with the brands that I really do love. I mean, I got to work with Samsung, I got to work with Google, OnePlus. I've yet to work with Apple, which hopefully one day we work with Apple. But until then, like we're just gonna, you know, stick around here. If you haven't subscribed, definitely be sure to subscribe. Let me know what other types of, you know, products you'd like to see me talk more about. I do have a couple other ones upcoming, so stay tuned, and I'll catch you all in the next one here on MTG Deep Dive.